students again excel at CSEC and CAPE examinations. Government convenes Economic Forum and Venezuelan president to visit Guyana later this month. You're watching Weekly Digest, the Government Information Agency program that keeps you updated on what the government has been doing. With the details, I'm your host, Vinita Mishra. Private sector investment in Guyana has been one of the major driving forces behind the country's overall economic growth as a result of the policy environment that the government has created.
Every day, private sector entrepreneurs in Guyana respond to the policy environment created by government and importantly mobilize their savings, take risks, raise capital, take risks, invest in economic ventures, work hard, create jobs, return a profit and grow their business. And so I always emphasize that whilst I might be the person going on government's behalf to report economic growth in the Parliament and to the public at large, the achievement of this economic growth is largely the result and largely the effort, or the outcome of the effort, of the very dynamic private sector that we have in Guyana.
Government recently hosted the annual Economic Forum, which allows for the private sector and other stakeholders to interface with each other, with the aim of identifying priority initiatives, interventions, and policies with a view of improving Guyana's competitiveness.
This forum seeks to galvanize our commitment from every stakeholder in building the platform to ensure continuous growth, ensuring Guyana's competitiveness remains of paramount importance for us as a people to ensure economic viability, progress and development.
At that forum, much was also said about the Amaila Hydro project, and a call was made by the private sector for its unequivocal support.
Probably the most important single potential event in our development history, which is the Amelia Falls Hydro project, that I believe has been compromised by our inability to take decisive decisions on project implementation. We have tended to listen to those experts who know little about power generation.
The government continues to uphold the hydropower investment as the solution to Guyana's energy needs and the main supplement to the country's competitiveness. The Home Affairs Ministry has established a cybercrime fighting unit, which will be tasked with addressing the challenges that come with technological advancement.
Cabinet has approved the establishment of a cyber fighting unit at the Ministry of Home Affairs to prepare the country for these challenges whenever they emerge. So we're not sitting on our hands waiting for these things to happen. The cybercrime unit has already been established. You probably would have seen the advertisements in the newspaper inviting persons who feel that they're adequately qualified to apply for the posts in this unit. We have received, interestingly, a significant amount of applications.
Applicants were interviewed by a special board whose members include representatives from the private sector. This new challenge has now surfaced as a result of the rapid growth in the ICT sector.
We all have some degree of intellectual capacity, and that intellectual capacity must be brought to bear so that each and every one of us can make a contribution and end up collectively finding a solution, whatever it may cost, to fight criminal activities, at the same time to ensure that the situation of normalcy is maintained, while at the same time fighting the challenges that emerge from time to time.
Public safety and security are two crucial prerequisites for growth and development, which are the key ingredients for competitiveness. However, growth and development do not necessarily mean an end to public safety threats. Meanwhile, the security sector will continue to expand its collaboration with the private sector, which has and continues to play a key role in enhancing the local security apparatus.
The partnership will result in more work being done by stakeholders, along with increased collaboration, so said Minister of Home Affairs Clement Rohi, as he addressed the security seminar organized by the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Also have representatives of the private sector on what is called the board of the Crime and Social Observatory, which is an integral part of the citizen security program, so that the private sector is, by action and by deeds, a partner of the government in the security sector. So we don't talk about partnership with the private sector, partnering with the private sector in the security sector. They are an integral part. They are a partner, a living partner with the Ministry of Home Affairs.
He opined that the Citizens Security Program and the Guyana Police Force Reforms Program are two key components in this regard, and noted that all must share the same vision as they move forward.
Once you go off on different tangents, there's only one set of people who take advantage of that, and this persons who are involved in the criminal enterprise. They are happy when there are divisions in the security sector. They are happy when institutions in the security sector are in disarray, are not coordinating, are not collaborating. Criminals take full advantage of those situations. So we look to the private sector, not only as a partner in formulating policies, but in implementing the policies as well, through their regional, institutional, or individual constituents.
The new 5-year strategic security plan has secured the blessings of the private sector and other stakeholders, such as the Tourism and Hospitality Association.
The nation's youths have once again done themselves and the country proud with the outstanding performances at this year's Caribbean Secondary Education Council exams and the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination.
President's College emerged on top at this year's Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examinations Cape, with aspiring cardiothoracic surgeon Shalita Apadu scoring 6 Grade 1s and 1 Grade 2, while the Anna Regina Secondary School in Region 2 produced the 2 top CSEC students, Zamina Rashid coming first with 18 Grade 1s and 2 Grade 2s, and Yogita Pasal taking the second spot with 18 Grade 1s.
Here are children who worked in what is not our top school or touted to be our top school and did extremely well. In fact, when you look at the results even closer, you'll understand why we are so very pleased with the performance of this school, because the number of children who matriculated here are the number is very, very close to schools and even exceeds the number in schools that we call top schools. So we're very pleased. The other thing that this says to me is like several stories that we have to assimilate in our heads, but it shows for sure that our delivery of services, that where we consciously deliver services equally and equitably, you will see results like this.
Minister Manik Chand was extremely proud of the performance of students of the Anna Regina Secondary School, from where the 2 top students came. She also made special mention of the success story of 3 Hinterland Scholarship students who are in the top group of the school.
The children from the hinterland places, hinterland residents, who ordinarily would not have an opportunity to do well because of our Hinterland Scholarship Program, where we financially upkeep them at Guardians or in dorms. We're seeing those kids performing exceedingly well, and it says to us that program is also a successful one.
Guyana has recorded a 100% pass rate at the 2013 Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Exams Cape, with improvement in the number of grades 1 and 3 passes. Meanwhile, the overall pass rate at CSEC results has increased to 59.31% as opposed to 58.69% in 2012.
Guyana continues to work towards the enhancement of bilateral relations with Venezuela. This will be enhanced during the Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's visit to Guyana later this month, where discussions with President Donald Ramotar will include trade relations between the 2 countries.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and Guyana's President Donald Ramotar will discuss not only bilateral issues during President Maduro's visit, but also regional and international issues as well as trade relations between the two countries.
We have signed a new agreement for the sale of rice, which is working very well, and we would just like to discuss that with President Maduro, if only to say that we will continue in this way. We are looking at other areas, other items for trade, but this would depend, of course, on how much we have to export to Venezuela. But generally, it would be the discussions, bilateral discussions in UNASUR, CELAC as well, because that's also important, and Guyana's associate membership in Mercosur. Venezuela is the latest full member of Mercosur, and I'm sure the presidents will touch on that as well.
Minister Rodriguez also indicated that if the Petro-Caribbean deal came up during the meetings with the presidents, it will be discussed.
That Venezuela has not indicated anything to Guyana that there would be a change in what exists right now with Petro-Caribbean. I've seen many things in the media, but I could only go with what is officially communicated to me as foreign minister, and we have not had that. But certainly it would be I think in good stead for, as we go along, not only Guyana but the other members of Petro-Caribbean, to review how we have been doing. What I can say is that Guyana has been adhering to the Petro-Caribbean arrangements, I think more than many others. As you know, we have been supplying rice and we have been receiving oil. So in a way, we have been repaying our debt upfront.
This will be President Maduro's first visit to Guyana in his capacity as President of Venezuela. President Ramotar recently reaffirmed government's commitment to work with the government of Venezuela for the enhancement of relations through the consolidation of existing programs of cooperation and exploration of new areas that will engender mutual benefits and preserve a climate of mutual respect.
There's more to come. Stay tuned.
Guyana needs the Amalia Falls hydropower project because all consumers will benefit from cheap and reliable electricity. Consumers will save approximately $3.5 billion over a period of 20 years. Guyana will save $90 million on fuel importation, and investors' confidence in Guyana will increase. More jobs will be available. All Guyanese need to come on board now. Reduction in consumer tariffs will be at least 20%.
With the Amaila Falls hydropower project, all consumers will benefit from cheap and reliable electricity. In fact, reduction in consumer tariffs will be at least 20% in 2017 and considerably more in the years ahead. This project will save residential, commercial, and industrial entities approximately $3.5 billion over a period of 20 years. At present, it costs about 25 cents per kilowatt hour to generate electricity using heavy fuel oil and about 30 to 35 cents per kilowatt hour using diesel. With Amaila, Guyana will save a dramatic 20 to 25% on its fuel importation bill, or about $90 million. Investors' confidence in Guyana will increase, and the manufacturing and services sector will be significantly boosted. In the climate change arena, Guyana has already taken on a leadership role with its low-carbon development strategy, and with this Amaila project, the country could also become a leader globally for renewable power. This project will add 6 percentage points to real GDP growth during the construction phase alone. The total public debt to Guyana for this project is zero. Cheap energy is vital to the industrialization of Guyana. Thousands of jobs would be created due to industrialization. After 20 years, the hydropower facility will be 100% owned by Guyanese, and it is expected to last 100 years.
The Amaila Falls hydropower project is the medium and long-term strategy for the country's electricity sector. It is where cheap and reliable energy will be derived for consumers both at the domestic and household levels. Guyana could become a nation taking the lead globally for renewable power and build investor confidence. Financial closure with the Inter-American Development Bank is within reach, and preparatory works on the long stretch of road to the Amaila Falls site have gone a far way. The support of all stakeholders is critical to the success of this important project.
Guyana's culture and swimming talents will be exhibited during CARIFESTA 11 and the Goodwill Championship respectively.
A 60-member contingent represented Guyana at CARIFESTA 11 in Suriname during the period August 16 to 26. The contingent was slated to showcase their skills and various cultural pieces in literary arts, arts and craft, music, visual arts, performing arts, fashion, and culinary arts.
We have a lot of experienced persons on this delegation, and I'm sure they'll bring their experience to bear. As you can see, we're sending a fairly large delegation. I think we might have the largest delegation there. The official delegation that we are paying for is about 60 persons, and this would include the various areas that we just spoke about, and the people who would be the team leaders. In addition to this 60 persons, we have a number of other organizations who would be coming under the umbrella of our delegation, like the Carnegie School that Mr. Canterbury spoke about. And most of them, we are not paying for them. They have source funding elsewhere, but they would be part of our delegation.
The Caribbean Festival of Arts, CARIFESTA, was initiated by the heads of government of the Caribbean community in 1972 to celebrate the arts, foster a vision of Caribbean unity, and to positively advance Caribbean culture regionally and internationally. Guyana hosted the first CARIFESTA in 1972 and the 10th event in 2008. Meanwhile, 17 young energetic swimmers who will be participating in the 19th Goodwill Swimming Championship in Barbados were given a send-off by Sports Minister Dr. Frank Anthony.
I'm very happy to have all of you here and to wish you well as you go off to represent Guyana at these Goodwill Games. We have, from the government side, we see swimming as one of the important areas of sport. And that is why we have invested so much money in the 50-meter pool, the National Aquatic Center, which you are all familiar with. And I think you would testify to the type of facility that we have there. We are also going to be investing later in the year by putting in the warm-up pool next to that 50-meter pool. So there will be a 25-meter warm-up pool. We have already awarded that contract to Mortar Pool, and they have already started manufacturing the warm-up pool. But when they set it up, you have to put it on a foundation. So by next week, the company, a local company, would get the contract to do the foundation. So I guess within a couple of months, you will be able to enjoy another swimming pool, and that is a warm-up pool, which can also be used for training.
The team, which comprises 11 males and 6 females between the age of 9 to 17 years, is well prepared and is optimistic that they will win the championship.
And I'm sure that we will do good things for Guyana. The training was well attended, both morning and evening sessions. And even during the training, we've seen lots of improvement in the timing of the children.
Guyana for the first time hosted the Goodwill 18 Championship game last year at the National Aquatic Center located at Linendal. The 50-meter swimming pool is one of few such facilities in the Caribbean that adds to the number of sporting facilities that can accommodate international competitions.
Meanwhile, on the local scene, the government continues to support hinterland sporting events, and this was reflected during the one-week football tournament in the Upper Mazruni District Region 7, where it provided a substantial sum of money and other forms of support.
The games are aimed at fostering community integration and group involvement, as well as the development of sports in various communities and districts overall.
I urge you similarly to make your contribution as well with the same level of fervor for community development. You will also know that there are a couple of young people among the various villages that have committed themselves to be community support officers. And I want to say that those are the ones which I believe will have some time to reflect on how best they can provide their level of support to their villages and to grow into models or role models for others to look at.
With continuous sporting activities, it will take the region to numerous developments, especially those that are community-oriented.
On behalf of the government, we wish to record that we recognize your talent, your skill, and your perseverance. And therefore, for us, it is very important to show our support.
Trophies were also donated to the participants and winners by the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs.
The venture of building the human capacity to prepare for the changing mining sector was furthered with the formal launch of the first courses that will be administered under the Guyana Mining School and Training Center.
15 students during the period August 15 to 19 will undergo training that will see the delivery of courses in confined space entry, transportation of dangerous goods, fall protection, and workplace hazardous material information systems.
This particular undertaking collaboration here is one which is costing money, getting this initiative, and certainly it's an investment that the government through our agencies, the ministry, that we are making in terms of developing the human resource base to ensuring that we have a well-rounded and, as it were, a very modern and very effective natural resources sector.
The school will receive support from College North Atlantic, which is based in Canada, in delivering this first curriculum.
Because we have been through similar stages, we understand the necessity for Guyana to prepare local industry stakeholders as well as regulatory agencies to ensure that important legislative and fiscal frameworks are in place and that they're working. These are required for Guyana to navigate the opportunities and challenges in the sector.
It is envisioned that the school will help shape the sector by emphasizing the importance and promotion of best practices to ensure that these ventures are profitable and the country gets its fair share for continued economic development. The sector has evolved, and therefore we must provide competent persons to rise to the challenges posed by the very vibrant industry. As such, the intervention is well timed, and I wish all the participants success in your career in a dynamic industry.
The Guyana Mining School and Training Center was formally launched in May 2012 to foster better development of the skills and technical knowledge needed to enhance the extractive industry.
And now here's this week's edition of Perspectives with Dr. Prem-Nazir.
There has been for some time a potent and misguided death wish campaign in Guyana to present sweeping misunderstandings on the Amaila hydropower project. This hydro is perhaps the largest national project in Guyana's history, and if it graduates to reality, then the People's Progressive Party Civic will receive showers of national and international kudos. Indeed, all Guyanese at home and in the diaspora would revel in such a massive accomplishment. The opposition should too, but here in Guyana, political self-interests, not the people's interests, are damaging the political and developmental life of this nation. Right now, the opposition's unyielding charade and death wish show over the hydro is perhaps what Guyanese have come to expect from politicians who live off politics. I suspect the opposition does not recognize matters of national interest. In the end, the opposition camouflages the facts of the Amaila project under the guise of improper transparency and accountability. This will not do, as the hydro deserves a better reception. The $858.2 million, 165 megawatt Amaila hydro power project is ailing, and there is talk that the Site Global, the project developer of this hydro, is about to walk. President Donald Ramutar and his government are still strategically placed to restore Amila's health. Nonetheless, renewing Amila's health means convincing Site Global to stay and see it to its completion. This should not be difficult, as the opposition's concerns are marred by irrelevance, unsubstantiveness, and political self-interest. Various self-appointed people's guardians, clearly with intense motivation to kill the hydro project, continue to raise spurious concerns over its viability. However, Raphael Horace and Brian Kubek of Site Global, in a February 2012 communication to the press, responded to these concerns, showing that the concerns of these self-appointed guardians of the Guyanese people are ill-founded. The opposition's arguments do not stand up to rigorous evidence and testing. For instance, the Shadow Minister of Finance, Mr. Carl Greenwich, referring to the last parliamentary sitting, reiterated that the government was unable to convince parliamentarians on the intrinsic worth of the hydro. This assertion is unbelievable because public information is available demonstrating that the hydro is expected to lower energy costs and producing other benefits, such as 1. Offering reduced energy costs to GPL's consumers in 2018, 2. A clean, renewable energy source, 3. It will incur foreign exchange savings through zero reliance on costly imported diesel and heavy fuel oil, 4. It will also provide reliability at a lowered electricity price, which will be a powerful incentive for investments in the mining sector. And 5, the hydro will reduce greenhouse gas emissions consistent with the low-carbon development strategy. The Shadow Minister also referred to a 2012 Site Global comment that it would walk from the hydro project unless there is consensus among stakeholders. Indeed, Site Global repeated that comment a few days ago prior to the last parliamentary sitting. Now, Site Global's request twice for consensus provides an entree for any opposition group harboring a death wish for the hydro project to oppose that hydro in the National Assembly. Indeed, at the recent parliamentary sitting, a Partnership for National Unity, APNU, voted against the hydro and at least promotes its death wish. Given again that we have this lack of consensus, Site Global, following through on its warning, has now intimated its intention to walk away from this hydro project.
And that has brought us to the end of this week's program, but before we go, here's a recap of the highlights. Guyanese students again excel at C2nd CAPE examinations. Government convened economic forum, and Venezuelan president to visit Guyana later this month. Remember that weekly digest and other government information can be found on our website www.gina.gov.ui, or you can send us your comments and suggestions at gina@gina.gov.ui. Thank you for watching, and do join us again next week for another program. Until then, be safe and have a productive rest of the week. Goodbye.